Well, hello there, and welcome back to the Creative Shop Talk podcast. Happy summer, or maybe it's happy winter if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. I know we have listeners from all over the globe, including members in our inner circle from all over the globe. So wherever you are, happy July. This month, inside my private coaching group, the Retailers Inner Circle, we're celebrating our wonderful shop owner members with a Member Appreciation Month. I'm kind of excited about it. So we're celebrating and shining a light on all of our members with weekly giveaways. We're doing shout outs, bonus trainings, and some surprises I really don't want to share here, but I'll be sharing with them inside the group. I really love our members, and one way that I wanted to shine a little extra light on them is to highlight some of the fantastic past podcasts that I have done featuring our community stars. Let me just say, past podcast is hard to say a few times in a row. Anyhow, I wanted to bring back a few of the wonderful episodes that we have done with members and replay them. So in case you missed them or you want to re-listen to them because they are all so valuable. I enjoyed every single one of these. So we have so many more episodes. I want to encourage you to go back and listen to any of our podcasts that we've done. I will say probably our most popular podcast posts are always with members. So I also wanted to invite you to start your holiday prep and your Q3 and all of the things that are going on inside your head, I'm sure, right now, about getting ready for the holidays and into our Retailers Inner Circle. This is a perfect time to join members like you're going to listen to today and our other fabulous members. I think we have the best online community for independent retail shop owners. I promise you, it's a great group. So if you're looking for retail business mentoring from me or from our guest experts, we have tools and resources. We also have a really supportive peer-to-peer community group. I promise you, we have got you covered. So when you join us, you get access to our seasoned retail community. Again, lots of experience inside the Retailers Inner Circle. You get access to me. You can ask me questions. And once a month, we do live coaching. But you immediately get access to all our resources. They're literally right there in your back pocket. You can get them anytime you want. We don't fire hose you inside the Retailers Inner Circle with information. You take what you need when you need it and ask questions and move yourself along. So that's been a priority of mine through the entire creation of the Retailers Inner Circle. So you get all our resources. You get my course, Retail Made Simple, which goes through leadership, marketing, operations, planning, and time management. Hello, time management. And also, as I mentioned, our entire retail library that has dozens of masterclasses. We have tools, we have templates. I don't know, we have all the things for you. So we also give our members every month a detailed business playbook. This is packed with social media and email marketing prompts, promotional ideas, operational checklists. There's so many things in there for you. We just revamped this year. It is fabulous. Our retailers are loving it. We basically did all the thinking for you, which is, I think that's worth a lot. And it's all designed to make your life easier. We also have quarterly editable social media graphics. This takes the hassle out of your social media. So you can just go in, edit them up to make your branding and to fit your branding, and then plug them in so you have a big chunk of your social media done, so you can schedule those in advance. We have the Q&A call, as I mentioned, with yours truly. I get to chat with you and you can ask me anything. If you can't make it live, you have an opportunity to post your question we have a Google form. You fill that out. I'll answer your question and you can watch it in the replay. You don't have to join us live, although I love that. I will tell you, I love that. We also have our popular Holiday Success Bootcamp. Now, come on, you guys, this is probably one of our most popular things inside the Retailers Inner Circle. I have been doing it for 7 years, and this year's even better than before. We've updated it. We're adding different promotional guides, event planning done for you. Event planning will help you figure all the big chunks out for you. Again, trying to make your life a little bit easier. We've got the events and promotional ideas and planning for you through January. Basically, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can use other people's ideas. We can work together. It's just a really profitable. It'll help you be more profitable and easier holiday. So our boot camp's pretty popular, and that is included inside the Retailer's Inner Circle. So I've got you. See that? I got all that. So I honestly don't want to talk you into this. I don't want to go on and on about the Retailer's Inner Circle, but I do want you to know how special the group is and how accessible it is. We have a tuition fee on the front and then a low monthly fee, so you can just keep getting your information. So you can keep joining us. You can keep all of the information, the playbook, everything. So, and you can cancel anytime. At this time, right now, as I'm recording this, we are keeping it month to month. I know most groups right now are making you sign up for a year or a long commitment. Currently, we are still allowing month to month. And the reason for that is I know things change. So I don't want you to feel obligated. So it's really a no-brainer, in my opinion, if you are looking for support. So I honestly, again, originally created the Retailer's Inner Circle to help my retail friends who were asking for my help and asking me to create things to help them. That's how it all started. They started joining, and everything inside the group has organically grown from things that retailers have asked me to create for them. So everything inside is not just, I think you might need this. It comes from, hey, we need this. Could you get the resources and put them together for us? So that's where all the information and all of the several years now of our Retailer's Inner Circle content comes from. There's no perfect time in life, in retail. You're always waiting for the right time. And I know you're busy, but retail success really does come down to doing the things that matter. So I would love to see you inside our Retailer's Inner Circle. It is designed to equip shop owners just like you to see the success that they want, so that you want. So no matter how much time you have every month, now in July is a great time to join us. You'll see success. I promise you. I pinky swear, promise you. Okay, enough about that. Let's get on with the show. I am excited to reintroduce you to some of our fab members. Hey there. Our interview today is with Louise McManus, and I am bringing Louise's podcast back because I just love how Louise does business. So Louise is the owner of Vischer Ferry General Store. She's been a member of the Inner Circle for a long time, our Retailer's Inner Circle. She runs both a cafe and a retail shop, and she wanted to expand the retail section and offload, I guess that's the right word, offload the responsibilities of the cafe. And she has beautifully done that. Her journey as a retail shop owner has really been one to watch. And I just love the multiple buckets, if you will, of revenue. It's how we speak inside the Retailer's Inner Circle that she's creating, and the success that she's seeing in building community, which is so important to her and where she's located. I want to encourage you to go have a look at Vischer Ferry General Store. Go follow her on Instagram. We'll have all that information in the show notes. But I really wanted to bring this episode back. It was originally aired quite some time ago, and I just wanted to bring it back. One of the quotes that Louise says inside the podcast is, "It's my business, and it can be whatever I want it to be." And I love that philosophy. I really think there's a lot of golden nuggets. This was one that had a lot of people talking and commenting and asking questions and wanting to follow Louise. She's a gem, and she's seeing amazing success in her community building and in her profits and retail building in what she's doing. So all in all, Louise is running a beautiful business. And listen to this episode. I hope you really enjoy it. Thanks for listening. So welcome, Louise, to the Creative Shop Talk podcast. I'm so excited to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Wendy. I'm happy to be here.
I invited Louise on because I am a big fan of how she is building her business, integrity and intentional growth, but not crazy growth. So I thought her journey might be something really interesting for all of us to chat about and to hear about. And Louise, do you want to tell us a little bit about your beautiful Vischer Ferry General Store, where you are, and how did you get there? How did this all come about?
Yeah, well, it really started with the building. We bought a house in this historic Erie Canal hamlet in upstate New York. And our house was actually the shopkeeper's house, built in 1856. We have a plaque that says shopkeeper's house, and it was right next door to what was the original general store for this village. And at the time, it was a tack shop for horseback riders, and it was very run down, in rough shape. Long story short, a few years into it, We bought the building with some partners, renovated the building, and then I opened up the general store. So it'll be 7 years in December. And so it really came about less from me looking to start a business as much as me wanting to do something with this beautiful historic building in the middle of our town that had so much potential that it really wasn't meeting. So I kind of backed into it that way.
Yeah. So there's this beautiful building and we're like, what can we do in there? Let's open a shop. So it wasn't that you came into this with a retail degree and lots of plans and lots of like business.
Quite the opposite.
Yeah.
No.
What was life? What was business life before? What experience did you bring in?
I had been working at a high-end bridal boutique for the 10 years prior to getting this business started. And that was another thing that I just kind of fell into. I was a jewelry designer. I started selling my jewelry in that bridal store. And then I started working there. And I did that for 10 years. I loved it. I really loved working with the brides and that customer service aspect of it. But as far as opening the general store, we more sort of brainstormed like, what kind of business can we put into this building that will bring people in? If it had been up to me, I would have done just like some sort of a gift shop. But we knew that we needed to have a food aspect of it to get people in the door because we're very much out of the way. We're not near anything. We're the only business in our little area. There's nothing for like probably 5 or 10 miles. We're just not near a business center. We don't get commuters. So we had to do something special that would get people to come to us. And we figured that had to be food in some respect.
Okay. So let's tell our listeners, what is it now? What does the shop look like? So you have food.
We have food.
What are you selling? How are you making revenue? What is your shop all about? Let's talk about that.
Okay. So, we have a lot of different buckets. Learn that term from you, Wendy.
Yes.
Primarily, we are a cafe and a retail gift shop. So the cafe accounts for, throughout most of the year, probably about 70% of our revenue. And then as we get into fourth quarter, it's probably more like 50-50 retail and cafe. But in addition to those, we have a beautiful outdoor space that we have improved upon over the years that we rent out for private events after hours. We also rent bikes. I should have made a list of all the buckets. At one point, I think I had 12 different buckets that I could name. We had like private classes, dinners, we do public events, all kinds of things like that. But for the most part, it is a small cafe serving breakfast and lunch and a retail gift store.
Right. So for those who are listening, the buckets, and you may, if you're a new listener, you're a new follower, what I mean by this, we all need multiple streams. And we talk about that a lot inside the Retailers Inner Circle, where Louise is a member. And I believe that we can do many things. And I've watched Louise just do an incredible job at that. I mean, you took Retail Made Simple. You took the course Retail Made Simple and then into the Inner Circle. And I remember having conversations with you. It's like, I've got this coffee shop, which many of you know, I have a lot of history on that as well. Mm-hmm. I've got this gift shop. How do we make it, how do we you have done an incredible job at creating a space for people to gather in like your backyard. Is it the backyard or the back of the shop? the whole atmosphere, the experience, you have created something from nothing, like this middle of nowhere, nothing that is crazy beautiful. I love following along and I've been loving watching your journey. So it's no longer, I would say, an out of the way place. I think it's a destination that you have created. Your tagline on your website, I always laugh. It says, gather, shop, and eat. And it's so perfect for what you do. I have a funny story to tell, Louise, I haven't shared, but we have in the back of our little house, a little courtyard we were creating. We have a little shed sort of next to it, and we have gravel, and we were just building this last year. And a friend of mine who's an interior designer and decorator and lover of all things beautiful, I had put out on Instagram, I said, I'm looking for your inspiration for courtyards. And she sent me your backyard. I was like, that's my client's back in the courtyard. It was so cute because it was one of your like just beautiful setups. So it's so beautiful.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I thought it was so funny. I was like, wait, I know that courtyard. Why do I know that courtyard? So really you've done a crazy job. So you have become the place to go in your community, in the whole area, right? You have people coming from afar.
We do. We have people that drive half hour, 40 minutes who come literally every single weekend. So it's funny because we have a mix of like regulars who come literally every weekend. Some people come every day. We're only open 4 days a week. So we're Thursday through Sunday. Because we're so far out of the way, we don't get business traffic. We don't get people on their lunch hour. We've honed our hours over time. We've tried all different hours, and we've narrowed it down quite a bit because we felt like we do more business in 4 days than we were doing in 6 days.
Yeah.
It's a weekend destination. So yeah, people will travel. They like the vibe. We have a unique, sort of very friendly, welcoming. Our whole thing is like, we're old fashioned. You want to come someplace where you can unplug, slow down, meet with friends. Because now we're outside with our seating, we have so much space. I don't care if somebody comes for 4 hours. In the beginning, they'd be taking up a space like inside, sipping a cup of coffee for 3-4 hours. That was no good, obviously, because we wanted to turn that space over for other customers. But when the pandemic hit, we moved all of our seating outside, and we've kept it outside. So that was kind of a silver lining for us. We never would have ever considered moving our cafe seating outside. We had a few tables outside, but now we can seat like 50 people out back. We don't seat anybody inside. So I've got more room for retail. And it's just been such a win-win. And we can really let people spend, I don't care if they spend the whole day out there. It's good for business. They keep coming back in and getting more lattes or ice cream or whatever it is.
Yes. And it's funny. I remember the conversation we had at one point pre-pandemic about, how do we be really friendly and tell you to get out, not out, but, how do we move people along? I can, and I do understand that, not dilemma, it's tension and friction, or maybe a little bit, but you've done a great job you've gotten very efficient with your cafe, because cafes can be very expensive. The margins are low. For those who don't have cafes or have never done food service, the margins are a lot different than retail. So you've got your cafe, but you've worked really hard on your margins and your team and your efficiency, and I know that you've narrowed your menu down, like trying to keep things simpler and more. So let's talk about that first. That's taken you a lot of I've watched you really put that CEO hat on and step into that role. How has that been for you? How do you find the time to do that? What's been the hardest part of stepping into that CEO role, making those kinds of decisions for your business?
I think as time has gone on, and I'm now, as I said, it's like 7 years in, I've gotten so much more comfortable, in large part due to like learning all the things I've learned with you and all the classes and everything. But I think the biggest thing I've learned is to trust my instincts. So we used to have, as you mentioned, like a very broad menu with like 6 different sandwiches, a salad, several quiches, et cetera, et cetera. And with the food prices going up, I had to have so much labor to make all this food. It was just too much. And it also stressed me out because I don't like running a cafe. I like the retail. If I could just be a gift shop, I would. So after, like around the holidays this year, right after Christmas that week, I said, why don't we try like getting rid of everything except for a breakfast sandwich, which is our most popular item. And we did that. We said, we're doing this like for the holidays. And then it went into our sort of quieter time right after the holidays. It gets a little quieter for everybody. We kept a more simple menu. And we ended up never bringing back all of the sandwiches, which was my ultimate goal, but we had to sort of ease our customers into that. And we had a little pushback in the beginning, but I think I'm at the point where I'm confident in myself and my decisions. And I would just explain to customers, do you want us to be here and succeed as a business? Or, like we did get a few complaints. So where's all the sandwich menu? But we said, well, this is our best seller. This is what we need to do to succeed as a business. Yeah. And we have found that we are our cafe sales have not gone down at all, despite the fact that we have like 2 things on the menu as opposed to like 10 things on the menu. So that was a huge win for us to make that change, stick with it, stick to our guns, and get people used to it, which they did. And I don't think we lost a single customer. I honestly think, people maybe got annoyed, but then they got used to it. Well, just like in the beginning with the seating. The indoor seating, they were always like, when are you bringing your indoor seating back? And I'd be like, maybe never. And now nobody even asks because it's been outside for 3 years now.
Right. And they're there for the experience, right? I mean, if we ask people, if we ask people, do you want, pineapple upside down cake every day? They would say yes. And we'd be making pineapple, if we were just doing what they, what I'm saying? Like we can't it has to be customer centric. We know that, but we have to do it with our CEO hat on and understand. Again, I love that you said, and that's a great takeaway for anybody listening, do you want to be here? Do we want to be here, 5 years from now, even 6 years, do we want to be here in the future? Is we have to make these decisions now. So bravo to you. You've made some other decisions or philosophies, or you have thoughts on on growing your business. And I laughed. And one of the reasons I even really wanted to make sure we chatted today was you sent me an email. I said something about growth, and I said, "Oh, how are things going?" I was doing a check-in with you, and you said, "Oh, you're gonna be mad at me or something because we're not planning on a lot of huge growth." Yeah. Can you speak to that? Because that's not what I'm about either. I'm about big enough, and I think big enough is what we want. So can you speak a little bit to that train of thought and that conversation, or how that went?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm not sure how it really came about. I think it had to do with, at one point, we were trying to make a decision. Well, my husband briefly retired and was going to come on board with me full time here at the store. And in order to do that, we would have had to really, ramp up the business, increase our revenue, add all these things, maybe do website sales, which we have a little bit of already, but ramp all that up. And ultimately, he decided it wasn't the right decision for him, not so much because of working at the store, but he went back to the company he'd been with, which was great. So I thought, I can go down one of two paths. I can just keep trying to grow it, or I can make it a size that's comfortable for me, where I'm taking into account my quality of life. And so I made the decision, and it was in conjunction with simplifying the menu. I scaled back on my payroll. My payroll was getting like out of control. At one point I had like 11 or 12 employees, and there'd be 6 of us working at a time. And it was just like, we're working. Sales are growing. But that did not mean that our profits were growing.
Yes.
So by like simplifying and amplifying, which is a total Wendy thing that you taught me, we were like, let's just scale it back. And so right now I'm like having the best time ever. 7 years in, I'm working probably 30 hours a week. I have been working like everybody else, 50 to 60, this time last year, even on all through. And I know that'll get busy third and fourth quarter. But I've managed to scale it back to where I can take so much time for myself to do the things that I want to do. And that helps me think big picture about the business too. I've definitely learned to trust my employees more, and they totally deserve it. I've got a great team. They don't need me hanging over their shoulder. They probably prefer it when I don't.
Yeah.
So as long as I keep the connection with my customers, that's the key thing, because, they know me as the owner of the business, and they like to chat with me. And even if I'm over there working, most of the time I'm actually really just chatting with customers, as opposed to like doing the grunt work of making the drinks and stuff. And that's great. They like to see that. They like to chat. So it was a huge change for me this year to do that, and to be like, I want this to be a small business. And honestly, our numbers are slightly down this year over this period last year. But like I said, I'm working about half the amount of time, and my payroll and food costs are down too. So my profit margin is higher.
Right.
So
I think
that's a win.
That's such a great, like, I had got goosebumps when you said that, because that is what it's all about. It's about quality of life. Whether you want a top line revenue means nothing if the bottom line is not. So how many people are out there like hustle, more money? And, like, we need to do more. We need to do more to get more people in the door, to make more money. But at the end of the day, are you doing what you love? Are you still enjoying it? And are you making a profit? Those are the important things, right? Simplifying and amplifying. So I love that you're doing that. I see. Well, do you want to tell us what are some of the things I've seen? What fills your cup when you're not? What are you doing with those extra 30 hours?
Well,
Yeah.
I think I'm what do they call like an introverted extrovert or an extroverted introvert. I don't know, but I love chatting with customers. I'm super social when I'm at the store, and then I want to just be by myself.
Right.
Yeah. Or with my husband. And so we have a little creek that runs behind our house and behind the store. And I literally like to go down there and like stick a chair in the creek with a book. And that's like, my employees are like heading to the creek, 3:00. See ya. So like, yeah, that and taking walks and riding my bike and just hanging out with friends. But I'm not, we're stay-at-homes. My husband and I are very quiet. We like our quiet time at home, just hanging out on our back porch, watching the birds or whatever. Like, that's my way to fill my cup, is with nature and quiet.
That's incredible. I'm so glad you have time to do that now too, right? So I'm glad that you made that decision. And
I think I would have burned out if I hadn't.
That's the problem.
I had to do it.
That's what happens. And I know we've all been busy over the last couple of years. It's been a weird couple of years. But that is exactly what happens. If we're always on this forward, need more revenue. And I think we have to all stop. And what is it we want? Why did we build this business? Why are we starting? So I know from what you've said today and from what you've shared and from conversations and from working with you, that your people mean a lot to you, the gathering. So I love that you have, I used to call it on my schedule in my shop, because I was that person too. We used to call it Wendy was on chat duty. And it was a kind of a joke amongst my team. But what it meant was I wasn't responsible for teaching workshops or that day, or I wasn't going to be at the cash, or I wasn't on the floor per se, but I was on the floor, Yeah. So I was the extra body, because that's what people wanted. I wanted to keep my hand on the thing So even once I started full-time coaching, I found it really hard to be in the shop when I was doing the grunt work. And I hate calling it grunt work, but you and I both know, we all know what we're talking about. If you're on the cash or you're on, you can't linger and chat as much. So I love that you're able to do that, because I know that was important to you. You've created the space that you wanted to with your vision, I want to say, of redoing this beautiful, and everybody has got to just go check you out. I'll make sure we have all your links, but you've created a beautiful, taken that whole old historic building, turned it into something beautiful, and did that space that I know you were dreaming about at the beginning. So, and you're getting your quality of lifetime, right? So yes, doing what fills your cup.
Yeah.
I think we're all on a fast track to burnout if we don't acknowledge that or identify what is big enough. And I call it big enough. I don't know if that even makes sense to everybody else, but like the big enough number is a paycheck, time, running a happy business, happy business, right? Or we will burn out. So thank you for sharing that. I really love that you share that we can't be in the grind all the time. Mm-hmm. It's impossible. And also, yay you for trusting your staff. That is a big step for a lot of us, to find the right people to be on our team and understand our culture, but also to let it go and, and trust that we've done a good job with our culture training, and that they're going to treat our people the way they should, and they're going to do the things. Trust is an important part of it, isn't it?
Yeah. Finding the right people is key. I mean, I've had a lot of employees over the years, and right now I just have like the dream team, but it has to be the person who's the right fit for the vibe that you have. Like, for example, I have a new employee who also has a job at a pizza shop. And she's been great. She's working out terrific. But when she first started, she was like rushing everybody through the transaction, like super fast. And I had to talk to her and say, that's how it works at the pizza shop, because they're just trying to move you through. And I'm like, our vibe is we chat with our customers, we take our time, we're super friendly, we get to know them, have a little conversation. And I said, even if there's somebody standing behind that person, they're not coming to our place to grab a quick coffee and get out the door. They're coming to like enjoy their time and relax. And nobody comes to us to like, grab a lunch on their lunch hour. Like, they're coming to hang out. And so she had to adjust for our store because it's just a different vibe. But our employees get that. And so they've become really good at that.
Yeah. And we lead by example. Right. So you're leading.
Yeah,
I mean, so that's a great point, though, to point out, because just because somebody knows how to work with cash and they're friendly and they're outgoing, we still and they can learn the technical stuff. We still need to teach them the culture. The culture is really important. And I share this a lot. The culture means this is how we do things around here. Like people get sort of tied up in the word culture, but it's like really just take that out and put, this is how we do things around here. It's
Exactly.
it's the easiest way to do it. And you do things so beautifully around your shop. If we could share one thing, so everybody who's like drifted off on the podcast, we could bring them back right now and share one takeaway, one thing you want people to remember or think about, an action step that they could do in their business to sort of create this sort of Zen vibe you've got going on, or big enough business. What would you share with retailers?
Well, I think you have to really love what you're doing. And obviously all of your people do, or else they wouldn't be doing it.
Yes.
And so it's that human connection with your customers. Like we're making connections with people. We've created a gathering place to welcome people. And it's almost like a community hub. It's taking the place of, what maybe a church years ago was, or a community center or something. Like we're kind of that sort of place, but everybody's business is different. Like that's what I've created because I felt that there was a void in our community. Like we live in the middle of nowhere, but our larger town is all suburbs and strip malls. Very few independently owned places and nothing with outdoor seating like we have. So I lost track. What was your question?
Well, just like an idea of, I think what you're saying is, really understand what it is you're trying to provide to your customers.
Right.
And really understand what they need. Right. So
understand and also avoid burnout, because I've been there where it's like, oh my God, here comes a whole line of customers. And I'm just like stressed instead of enjoying the fact that, wow, we have a whole line of customers. This is amazing. So, an important thing is to make sure you kind of take time to yourself so that you remember why you love what you're doing. And it doesn't just become like, oh, because customers will pick up. I've been there where I've been stressed out and tired.
Yeah.
And my customers can pick right up on that vibe and they see it. And, they want to see somebody who's happy because it makes them happy.
Energy is palatable, isn't it?
It's the energy and the vibe that you're putting off. And sometimes I'll, even still now, I'll get tired. It's been a long day or, whatever. Yeah. And I'll have to step away from the register and I'll be like, okay, you get the register. I'm going to be on drinks for a while. Cause I literally don't have the mental energy to be as friendly and keep the conversations going.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we might have the culture in place and I might really be the leader of it, but today is not the day.
So yeah, it's like, know your limits. Nobody can do it all. And you always say you need employees. And if you think you don't, you do, or if you think you can't afford employees are what's going to help get your business to the next level. When I opened, I thought, it was just going to be me and one other person. And now there's no way. Yeah. So get help.
Yeah, it's important to have people. We're not super women or supermen, right? So we have to have people. I don't know any business that's grown without people. Like there's just no such thing as a successful business without people. Mm-hmm. One thing I also have seen you do beautifully, besides build all of this and just to add to something I think that maybe you've even forgotten that was not easy, is learning and educating yourself. And I actually remember a conversation with you about Facebook Lives, and you were like, I said, you have to show your shop, and you're like, I'm not doing that, and then but we have to do uncomfortable things, learn new things, step into new things, and I think that's the only way to get the ease too. And I've just watched you do that really well. So
thank you.
I wanted to mention that as well too. You're always open. Again, some things work, some things don't for us, right? So
yeah,
but we have
to try. I am willing to try anything. And my philosophy is that it's my business and it can be whatever I want it to be. And it's taken me a while to get there. I used to listen to people, well, you're going to need to do this, you're going to need to do that. And I have enough self-confidence at this point in having run it that I trust my own instincts. I run it the way I would want to see it as a customer, and my people will come, and there are customers we get through the door who it's not really their vibe. They're looking for, every once in a while, somebody wants to get a bagel with cream cheese. I'm like, well, we have a very limited menu. That's not what we sell. And that they're not our people. Like our people have found us and they tell their friends, and has spread through word of mouth. And I think you just have to be confident in what you're creating and be true to your vision, and the right people will find you.
Wow, that's beautiful. Well, we'll end up on that then. So thank you so much for your time. Where can we send people? What's the best place for us to send people?
The website is vischerferrygeneralstore.com, spelled like my t-shirt with Vischer. And same on Instagram and Facebook, Vischer Ferry General Store.
Yeah, and we'll have all of that in the show notes. Last question. What's up next, or what are you most looking forward to for this coming season in Ferry General? What are you excited about?
Excited for figuring out our theme for this holiday season. And I'm starting to, I've been really enjoying my summertime and having lots of fun, but I'm also in the back of my mind thinking, okay, I need to have some planning sessions and think about fall and winter are both huge for us. Fall is huge. We're in an apple picking area.
Yes.
We're like quintessential Northeast, like people love to come to our kind of place during the fall. So I have kind of laid off all the special events and all that stuff for the summer, but they'll be back in full force for fall and winter. So just starting to plan all that fun stuff.
We'll be jumping into the holiday boot camp, as you know, in the inner circle. So I was going to say, we'll be getting you organized and getting ready to go. So I'm going to shout out to you and to everybody to go follow, especially through the holidays. Last fall and into the holidays, it was just beautiful. It was magical. All of the things you did. I mean, I watched somebody you did a great job on, somebody was decorating your front of your shop and you were sharing that on Instagram, and I was following and I was, oh, what are they doing today? How far along are they? It was beautiful. And that all goes to the feeling, right? The emotional connection that we make with our customers. And part of that is you just provide a beautiful visual feeling and makes me want to open my wallet and spend some money, right? So because
you're all expecting something big this year, so I have to come up with something.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. You do a wonderful job. Thank you so much, Louise, for your time and sharing all of this great information with all our retailers. I'm sure there's some big nuggets for so many people, and everybody jump on over and follow Louise at Vischer Ferry General. So thank you, Louise.
Thanks, Wendy.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of the Creative Shop Talk podcast. I'm so glad that you were here to join us this week, and I hope you found value in what we're sharing here. I want to remind you that our website has all of the show notes. You can find it at wendybatten.com/podcast. Everything that you need to hear about today's podcast is there. Also an opportunity if you need to reach out to me. If I can support you in any way whatsoever, please feel free to reach out. Make sure you join our Rockstar Creatives Facebook group. We will continue the conversation over there weekly. So thanks for joining us. Please leave a review, subscribe if you can, and never miss an episode. We hope to see you back here again next week. Thanks, my friend. Have a great week.